Okay, now we're going to go through the process of gluing up a chair. Now he's brushing that glue in there with an artist's paintbrush. Now he's sanding it off the edge just to make sure that there's no glue marks on there. Because when you put them together, you don't want any glue mark on your wood because that will affect the stain. Now the secret of doing what he's doing with the tapered fit on these joints, that's what makes a tight fit. It makes high hydraulic pressure and it forces the glue into the pores of the wood. You notice these tendons on here are all slightly tapered. Now they're hand sanded, the final is hand sanded. They are first done, we do it like a big pencil sharpener, it roughs them in, but then the final is down to by hand. We use a number of different kinds of hammers. Well, you'll see over here we have the rubber hammer, the steel hammer, and we also have a bar clamp. The bar clamp puts a lot of pressure on there when we put the back in. Our chairs fit so tight that without any glue, it will hold your body. We just put the glue in to make doubly sure, but we rely on the tightness of the fit. He has got one more hole to go, and then he's going to show you how he puts this together. These chairs are not mass produced in any way. These are not easy fitting joints. They're all by design. They're tight fit. Keep in mind, we wouldn't really need the glue in it to hold them, but we put glue in just to make doubly sure. Okay, he's sanding it out now again to make sure there's no glue on the surface. Now, if we're lucky, we'll get that thing down in there with no glue oozing out. Okay, now he's got himself all laid out. He's checking the grain, and he will put them in a certain way. You see how he lines that up? Steel hammer, do you hear it? You can hear when that seats out. It has a different sound when it's actually seated out. Now he's going to use the rubber hammer. Boom, you hear that? Okay, now we're putting the back legs in. Notice we're using a steel hammer. They're only partially in. They're not down in the whole way yet. This is all by design. Now he's going to put the front rung in. You hear it? You hear how that solid whack at the end? That means it's seated out. Now he's going to hit the next one again. Now he's using a rubber hammer. And now we're going in with the front legs. See, they're only stuck in part way. Those are all taper fit. Now he's putting the side rungs in. You just can go down in the whole way. You see how he pulls that together? They're only temporarily in there now. They're only partially in. Now watch how we put this together. This chair is all going to go down together at the same time. Steel hammer now. He's just going around and around. Now he's going to put the rungs, finish putting the rungs in. Use a rubber so you don't ding anything. But you hear it? Hear the end? You can hear when it's together. Now you're going to hear it when he's putting these legs in. You're going to hear when it seats out. See, it's not down there yet. It's not there yet. Not yet. Oh, that one is almost. There it is. That one's down. That's down. There, see, now they're all down. You can hear it by sound. The reason I know this much, I used to build all my chairs myself, and I've taught them how to do it. Now he's going over. He's going to be checking it for if it's rocks or not. You see it's got a little bit. You see what he's doing now? Pulling it, and it'll set it. That takes a lot to move that. Now you did a little too much. Now you got to pull the other one. See, now it's perfect. It's on a machine surface. Now you'll set this aside, let it cure, and he'll put the next one together. Notice how the grain is matching. It's truly a work of art when they glue that up. Make sure they're balanced. Now what we just saw a minute ago was these legs being put in. You see that tapered fit. See, this leg is wider here than down here. This is actually, this part of the chair, just the leg cut through on the taper. So you're looking right down the center of the leg. You see the glue on the edges here, and also on the very bottom of the leg. You have glue, complete contact. And that's when it seats out. It gives it that solid sound. It's seated the whole way. So our legs are much stronger because they're both glued on the bottom and the side, plus the pressure. And now this is the top one. They're all done the same way. This is on the back. That's the hole before we put the side rungs in. I want to show you something particularly different about the way I make my rungs. You see here, there's a long screw put the whole way down to about here. That's a steel screw, and that eliminates any breakage in here. That's hidden in the chair. You'll never see that unless you x-ray the chair. My rocking chairs, I do that on the arm pins as well. And there you see the tapered fit. Both of these are tapered. Now on this one, when we put this joint in here, you see how it seats out? That's tight. And as the further in it goes, the tighter it gets. Now when there's glue in there, it's not unusual for us to have glue actually ooze out the end grain because it makes so much hydraulic pressure on the glue itself. Now we don't like to have it come out the end. That means it's too much glue, but there's nothing wrong if it does happen. We just sand that off. But see, this back, when it's on the chair, when you lean back, you're actually pulling on here, and the back is pushing. Now he's going to now start putting a back together here, and you see how this gets fit. Now this is a special art. You ever hear the saying of using your head? Well, you're going to see how Rick will use his hands and his head to put this chair together. But first we're going to see how he puts the side pieces and the rungs in. Notice we're using an artist's paintbrush. We use a small brush like that so we can get it in the side of the hole. The bottom, the glue will get there because there's a certain amount of glue gets pushed down into this. So there's always enough of glue in the bottom, but we don't want too much glue in the bottom so it doesn't push it out the end grain like I told you. All my men in the shop, they learn from each other. I did this here for many years, but I haven't built a chair. Well, I have to take that back. I built some rocking chairs just this past year, but they do most of the chair building. But it's all basically the same now. There are slight changes we make over the years, but it's the same principle. Again, notice he's using sandpaper. This saves time later on. There's no glue. Because keep in mind that tenon goes in there, seals, it's so tight that glue does not ooze out. Now again, he's going to use a steel hammer. He's setting them in only temporary. They're not the whole way down. That's all by design. You see, he checks the grain on them before he puts them in. And he turns them one certain way, so that you will have a flat surface toward your back. Now my rungs, there's 7 of them in the chair, 5 in the middle and 2 in the end. many supports you don't feel any against your body. All the furniture we build it so that it's designed to be about human beings. It's built for comfort and strength and beauty, natural beauty. See how these are not seated down the whole way necessarily, but that's by design. Now that one is down the whole way. Well, not quite maybe, because they're down there, it's still got pressure on that glue, but as you will see shortly, we're going to actually have more pressure on that joint yet. You hear that? That's pretty well tight. And now that chair is roughed in. Now he's going to do the other part. Now we're doing the seat. Now notice he's sitting on this chair in a special way by design. He's doing this here because he wants to be able to hold that chair in position solid, so he sits on it. Now again, we're gluing the holes all on the edges. We're careful not to get excess on the edge. A little bit there, he'll sand that off before we ever go together. And now he's gluing up the last hole. Naturally, just for fun, he's doing it left-handed. He's like I do. Us left-handers don't do anything right. Isn't that right, Rick?
That's right.
You don't have to be left-handed in shop, but it sure is fun. But he and I do things similar. The other guys do it right. We do it left-handed. Okay, now here comes the part where he uses his head and hands. First you set the edges. You got them in there just a little bit. Now watch this. Now there's a lot of tension. This is where the real art comes in. Now you don't see it, but he's using his head to push that chair seat back. So he's got two hands and all his fingers working, and he already used his head on that. He probably won't use it anymore because you got to do that just to get them lined up, because everything's got to be just right. You see, now it's not done yet. It's down, but now he's going to be using the bar clamp and the ends. Now he's putting these blocks on here to keep from doing pressure marks on the chair. He will start in the center first, and that's you bring it down in stages. You see how it's going down in there. Now he'll do the side first, and then the center first, and then he'll get the sides. And it's a progression. Now when I used to build chairs, I didn't do it this way. But they did do them better than I ever did. You know, that's what the blessing of having different people do the job. You actually learn from each other and you do it better. The stuff I used to build, I always say, and I know it's a fact, that my men build better furniture than I ever did. Because I didn't do all that. But now he's going to check it. This is important, to check the distance so that they're equal. They're equally compressed down in, but then he's also going to check it another way after he's done bar clamping. Now that side over there was apparently not quite down there right. So he's going to finish it down. Hear that? That's such a tight fit. Now keep in mind, every time we build something, it's handcrafted. There is nothing like a perfect chair. When God designed people, He never made two people alike either. They're very similar, but they're never the same. You see what He's doing now? He's checking that chair. He checked it for straightness and any twist. So now it'll be set over to cure.